HOA Karen took over our garage with 2 trucks. The street was usually very quiet. Every morning looked the same. Small houses. Clean lawns. No noise. This was a peaceful neighborhood. Grandpa lived there for more than 30 years. He was 72 years old. White hair. Slow walk. Calm face. He woke up early every day. Made his tea. Sat near the window. That morning felt normal. But it was not. At exactly 8:15 a.m., the silence broke. A loud engine sound came closer. Then another. 2 big trucks stopped right in front of Grandpa's garage. The trucks were huge. Gray color. Heavy tires. They blocked the driveway completely. Grandpa looked outside. His eyes narrowed. This never happened before. The garage was his private property. He built it himself many years ago. He slowly stood up and opened the door. Before he could speak, a woman stepped forward. She was wearing dark sunglasses. Perfect hair. Sharp smile. Her name was Karen. She was the HOA president. Everyone in the neighborhood knew her. She loved control. She loved rules. She loved power. Karen looked at the garage and pointed. "This garage is now under HOA control," she said loudly. Her voice was cold and confident. Grandpa blinked. He thought he did not hear correctly. "I'm sorry?" Grandpa asked calmly. Karen took off her sunglasses. "I said this garage now belongs to HOA use," she replied. She crossed her arms. 2 workers jumped out of the trucks. They started opening the back doors. Tools. Boxes. Metal rods. They were ready to move in. Grandpa felt his chest tighten. "This is my garage," he said. "I did not give permission." Karen laughed. A short, fake laugh. "You signed HOA rules," she said. "That gives us authority." Grandpa shook his head slowly. "I never agreed to this," he replied. Karen stepped closer. "You old people forget things," she said. That sentence cut deep. Neighbors started coming outside. Doors opened. Curtains moved. Everyone was watching. But no one spoke. Karen enjoyed the attention. She waved her hand at the workers. "Start unloading," she ordered. The workers hesitated for a moment. Then they began moving boxes inside the garage. Grandpa stood there silently. His hands shook slightly. Not from fear. From anger. But he stayed calm. "This is illegal," Grandpa said. Karen smiled wider. "Prove it," she replied. She pulled out a clipboard. "You block HOA work, you get fines," she warned. Grandpa knew something was wrong. Very wrong. The garage door was still open. The workers were already inside. Grandpa felt powerless for a moment. Karen saw that. She thought she had one. She leaned closer and whispered, "You should just listen and stay quiet." Grandpa looked at her face. He said nothing. Karen turned away proudly. She felt strong. She felt untouchable. The trucks kept unloading. Metal sounds echoed on the street. More neighbors came out. Some looked angry. Some looked scared. But Karen did not care. She loved moments like this. She was in charge. Or so she thought. Grandpa went back inside the house. Karen smiled again. "See," she said loudly. "He knows when to give up." The neighbors looked at each other. They felt uncomfortable. But HOA power scared them. Inside the house, Grandpa sat down. He closed his eyes. Memories rushed back. This was not the first time someone tried to take advantage of him. But this time, it felt personal. He looked at the wall. Old photos hung there. Him. His wife. The house. He built this place with his own hands. No HOA helped him. No Karen existed back then. He opened a drawer slowly. Inside were old documents. Maps. Letters. Property records. Grandpa touched the papers gently. His face changed. The calm look was still there. But something else appeared. Focus. He picked up his phone. He did not rush. He dialed a number carefully. "Hello," he said softly. "Yes, it's me." Outside, Karen continued giving orders. She told workers where to place things. She walked inside the garage like she owned it. She took pictures. She smiled. She did not know. This moment would destroy her reputation. One neighbor started recording quietly. Another whispered, "This doesn't feel right." Karen heard it. She turned fast. "Mind your business," she snapped. The neighbor stopped talking. Karen felt proud again. She stepped out of the garage. She looked at Grandpa's closed door. "Old man won't fight," she said to herself. But inside the house, Grandpa made another call. Then another. His hands were steady. His voice was calm. He knew something Karen didn't. Rules work both ways. Power has limits. And today, Karen crossed them. Outside, the trucks finished unloading. Karen clapped her hands. "Good job," she said. She turned to leave. But before she could step away, Grandpa's door opened again. He stood there. Quiet. Still. Karen rolled her eyes. "Anything else?" she asked. Grandpa looked straight at her. "Yes," he said slowly. "This is not over." Karen laughed loudly. "Oh please," she replied. "You already lost." Grandpa did not respond. He simply walked back inside. Karen shook her head. She thought it was done. But the air felt heavy. Something was coming. Something big. And Karen had no idea that her biggest mistake had just been recorded, documented, and prepared to go viral. The street looked normal again. The trucks were still there. The garage was still blocked. But something had changed. Grandpa was no longer standing outside. Karen noticed that. She liked it. In her mind, silence meant surrender. She walked around the garage, checking everything like a boss. She talked loudly on her phone so everyone could hear. "Yes, HOA work is going well," she said. "No problems here." She smiled proudly. The workers followed her orders without question. They stacked boxes. They moved tools. The garage did not look like a home anymore. It looked like a construction site. Neighbors watched from a distance. No one liked Karen. But everyone feared HOA fines. One neighbor whispered, "She can't do this, right?" Another replied quietly, "Who'll stop her?" Karen heard small talks. She turned sharply. "If anyone has an issue," she shouted, "read the HOA rules." Everyone went quiet. Inside the house, Grandpa sat at the kitchen table. The house was silent. Too silent. He placed his phone down gently. 3 calls. That's all it took. He looked at the clock. 9:02 a.m. He nodded slowly. Everything was moving on time. Grandpa stood up and walked to the window. He watched Karen from behind the curtain. She was laughing now. Laughing loudly. She was enjoying this moment. Grandpa's face showed no anger. Only patience. Karen suddenly stepped inside the garage again. She looked around and frowned. "Why is this corner empty?" she asked. A worker replied, "We haven't moved those yet." Karen rolled her eyes. "Do it fast," she snapped. "We don't have all day." She pulled out her phone again. She started recording a video. "HOA improvement project," she said to the camera. "Thanks to our leadership." She smiled wide. What she didn't know was this. Another camera was recording her too. Across the street, a young neighbor held his phone low. He was recording everything. Karen threatening. Karen ordering. Karen taking over. The video was clear. Karen felt eyes on her. She turned around. "What are you looking at?" she asked sharply. The neighbor quickly looked away. Karen scoffed. "People love drama," she muttered. She had no idea how much drama she just created. Inside, Grandpa opened a small notebook. Old handwriting filled the pages. Dates. Names. Approvals. He flipped to one page and stopped. He smiled. "This will be enough," he said softly. Grandpa was not afraid of HOA. He helped design city zoning rules years ago. Karen didn't know that. To her, he was just another old man. And that was her biggest mistake. Outside, Karen decided to push further. She walked to Grandpa's front door and knocked hard. No answer. She knocked again. "Open up," she demanded. Still nothing. Karen got angry. She turned to the workers. "Change the garage lock," she said. The workers froze. "Ma'am, are you sure?" one asked. Karen glared. "I am the HOA president," she snapped. "Do it." That moment changed everything. The worker slowly reached for his tools. Across the street, more phones came out. People were recording openly now. Karen didn't stop. She felt unstoppable. Inside the house, Grandpa heard everything. The knock. The order. The metal sound. He closed his eyes. "That's it," he whispered. He picked up his phone again. "One more call," he said. Outside, a worker stopped suddenly. "Ma'am," he said nervously. "This doesn't feel right." Karen snapped back. "Are you questioning me?" The worker stepped back. Karen moved closer to the garage door. She touched the lock. She smiled. "This is what control looks like," she said loudly. Just then, a distant siren sound echoed. Very faint. Very far. Karen didn't hear it yet. But Grandpa did. He looked at the clock again. 9:17 a.m. Right on time. Karen finally heard the sound. She paused. The siren got louder. She frowned. "Probably nothing," she said. But her smile faded. The neighbors looked at each other. The siren came closer. Karen's phone buzzed. She checked it. Unknown number. She ignored it. The siren stopped. Right at the end of the street. Karen turned slowly. Her confident face began to change. Because this time, the power was not walking toward her. It was rolling in. No one noticed at first. The street was still noisy. Metal sounds. Workers talking. Karen was still in charge. Or at least, she believed she was. Then a black car stopped at the corner of the street. No loud engine. No rush. Just a clean stop. Two men stepped out. Plain clothes. Clipboards in hand. They did not look angry. They looked serious. Grandpa saw them from the window. He nodded once. "Good," he whispered. Karen was busy yelling at a worker. "Put that inside properly," she shouted. "Do I have to explain everything?" One of the men walked closer. "Excuse me, ma'am," he said calmly. Karen turned fast. "What now?" she snapped. The man showed a badge. "City property inspection," he said. Karen froze for half a second. Only half. Then she smiled again. "Yes, I'm the HOA president," she replied proudly. "This is approved work." The inspector did not smile back. "Can we see the permit?" he asked. Karen blinked. She opened her bag. Papers. Pens. But not the paper he asked for. "This is HOA property," she said instead. The inspector looked at the garage. Then at his clipboard. "Our records say otherwise," he said calmly. The neighbors moved closer. Phones came out again. Karen felt the shift in the air. But she refused to step back. "This man agreed to HOA rules," she said, pointing at Grandpa's house. "That gives us control." The inspector shook his head. "HOA rules do not cancel city law," he replied. Karen's face tightened. At that moment, Grandpa opened the door. He walked out slowly. No rush. No fear. He carried a thick folder. The inspector turned toward him. "Sir," he said politely. "Are you the property owner?" Grandpa nodded. "Yes," he replied. Karen laughed nervously. "This is a misunderstanding," she said quickly. "He forgets things." The inspector ignored her. "Do you allow this work?" he asked Grandpa. Grandpa looked at the garage. Then at Karen. "No," he said. One simple word. Everything stopped. The workers froze. Karen's smile disappeared. The inspector nodded. "Thank you," he said. Karen raised her voice. "You can't stop this," she shouted. "I run the HOA." The inspector remained calm. "And I enforce city law," he replied. Grandpa handed over the folder. "These are the original property maps," he said quietly. "From before HOA existed." The inspector opened it. His eyebrows lifted. He turned pages slowly. The neighbors leaned in. Karen stepped closer. "That's old," she said. "It doesn't matter." The inspector looked at her. "It matters a lot," he said. He pointed at a page. "This garage is private property," he continued. "No shared access. No HOA control." Karen's face turned pale. But HOA," she started. The inspector raised his hand. "Ma'am, you ordered illegal use of private property," he said. The word illegal hit hard. Phones captured everything. Karen felt trapped. She tried to laugh. "This is ridiculous," she said. "We were just helping the community." The inspector was not convinced. "Do you also have permission for the trucks?" he asked. Karen stayed silent. The inspector wrote something on his clipboard. "I'm going to stop this work," he said. "No!" Karen shouted. But it was too late. The inspector turned to the workers. "Pack up," he ordered. The workers looked relieved. They started moving things back. Karen stepped forward angrily. "You can't do this," she yelled. Another car arrived. This one had city markings. Karen's hands started shaking. Grandpa said nothing. He just watched. The inspector turned back to Karen. "There will be a full review," he said. "HOA authority abuse is serious." Karen swallowed hard. Neighbors whispered. "This is bad for her. This is really bad." Karen's phone buzzed again. "This time," she answered. Her face changed. "Yes. I understand," she said quietly. She hung up. She looked around. All eyes were on her. Her power was gone. Grandpa stepped closer. He spoke calmly. You should have asked, he said. Karen looked at him. For the first time, she had no reply. The trucks started leaving. The garage slowly cleared. The street felt lighter. But this was not the end. Not yet. Because what happened next would take this story far beyond the neighborhood. The trucks were gone. The street was quiet again. But Karen could not move. She stood in the middle of the road. Her phone still in her hand. The screen was dark. Around her, people were not looking away anymore. They were staring. Some were recording openly now. Karen felt something new. Not anger. Fear. She tried to smile. It did not work. This is not finished, she said loudly. This will go to the HOA board. No one responded. The inspector spoke again. Ma'am, you are ordered to leave the property, he said calmly. Karen looked at him. You can't tell me where to go, she snapped. The inspector did not raise his voice. I just did, he replied. That simple answer shocked her. Karen grabbed her bag tightly. She turned toward her car. Every step felt heavy. Behind her, Grandpa stood near the garage. He watched silently. Karen stopped walking. She turned back. This isn't over, she said again, weaker this time. Grandpa looked at her. His voice was soft. It is, he replied. Those two words hit harder than any shout. Karen's face burned. She got into her car and drove away fast. The sound of her tires echoed down the street. The neighbors stayed quiet. Then someone clapped. One clap. Then another. Soon, the street filled with soft applause. Grandpa nodded politely. He did not smile. The inspector walked over. Sir, he said. You handled this well. Grandpa replied simply. I followed the rules. The inspector handed him a paper. This is an official notice, he explained. We will investigate HOA actions. Grandpa accepted it calmly. Across the street, a young man uploaded a video. The title was simple. HOA Karen crossed the line. Within minutes, comments started coming in. Inside Karen's car, her phone buzzed non-stop. She ignored it. Her hands were shaking. She had never lost control like this. At home, she opened her laptop. Emails filled the screen. Messages from neighbors. Messages from HOA members. Not friendly. She read one message slowly. Did you really try to take a private garage? Her throat went dry. She typed a reply. Then deleted it. At the same time, Grandpa sat inside his house. The garage door was open again. Sunlight filled the space. He sat on a chair and looked around. Everything was back. But he knew something bigger had started. The phone rang. He answered calmly. Yes, he said. A reporter's voice spoke. Sir, we saw the video, she said. Can we ask you a few questions? Grandpa paused. Then he replied. If it helps stop this behavior, yes. Outside, the video kept spreading. Shares. Likes. Comments. People loved the story. An old man. A powerful HOA president. A quiet victory. Karen watched the numbers rise. Her name was everywhere. And this time, she was not in control of the story. She closed her laptop slowly. For the first time, Karen felt what others felt for years. Small. Karen woke up early. Too early. Her phone had not stopped buzzing all night. Messages. Notifications. Missed calls. She did not check them right away. She already knew. Something had gone very wrong. When she finally looked at her phone, her heart sank. The video was everywhere. Millions of views. Comments filled with anger. People were not on her side. They were laughing. They were criticizing. They were asking questions. Karen sat up straight. "This is taken out of context," she said to herself. She opened her email. One message stood out. Subject: Emergency HOA meeting. Her hands froze. She clicked it. The message was short. "Your presence is required. Immediately." Karen swallowed hard. At the same time, across the neighborhood, Grandpa was having his morning tea. He watched birds outside his window. The world felt calm again. But he knew peace like this never lasted long. His phone rang. It was another reporter. "Sir, people love your story," she said. "You stayed calm. Why?" Grandpa smiled gently. "I trust the law," he replied. That simple answer spread online fast. Karen drove to the HOA office. The parking lot was full. That never happened before. She walked inside. People stopped talking. Eyes followed her. She sat down at the long table. No one greeted her. The HOA board president cleared his throat. "Karen," he said, "we need to talk about your actions." Karen straightened her back. "I acted for the community," she said. A board member pushed a tablet forward. The video played. Her voice echoed in the room. Her threats. Her orders. Her smile. Karen felt sick. "This looks bad," she said quietly. "It is bad," the president replied. Another member spoke. "You used HOA power without approval." A third added, "You broke city law." Karen tried to defend herself. "He agreed to HOA rules," she said. The president shook his head. "That does not give you ownership." Silence filled the room. Then came the final sentence. "We are removing you from your position." Karen's breath stopped. "What?" she whispered. "Effective immediately." Her power was gone. Back at the neighborhood, Grandpa walked past his garage. Neighbors waved at him. Some thanked him. Some smiled proudly. He nodded politely. He never asked for attention. But attention found him anyway. A local news van parked nearby. A reporter asked, "Do you feel like a hero?" Grandpa replied softly, "No. I just stood my ground." Karen packed her office box. Photos. Awards. HOA badges. All useless now. As she walked out, her phone buzzed again. Another notification. Another video. Another comment. She turned it off. For the first time in years, Karen had no control. And for the first time, everyone saw her without power. The video did not slow down. It grew faster. Every hour, more views appeared. Thousands turned into millions. People shared it with one sentence. "This is what HOA abuse looks like." Grandpa did not understand social media. But he understood people. And people were angry. In the comments, strangers defended him. They called him calm. They called him smart. They called him a legend. Memes appeared. Karen's angry face. Grandpa's quiet stare. The internet made its choice. Karen stayed inside her house. Curtains closed. Phone silent. She opened social media once. Big mistake. Her name was trending. Not in a good way. She read one comment. She thought power made her untouchable. Another said, "Never mess with quiet people." Karen closed the app fast. Her hands were shaking. At the same time, Grandpa received letters. Real letters. Thank you notes from strangers. One said, "You gave us courage." He placed them carefully on his table. He did not smile. He felt responsibility. News channels called him again. He agreed to one interview. Just one. He sat in his chair. Camera lights on. The reporter asked, "Do you hate Karen?" Grandpa shook his head. "No," he replied. "I dislike misuse of power." That sentence spread everywhere. People loved it. Karen's neighbors avoided her now. No greetings. No smiles. The HOA sent another email. Formal investigation started. Karen read it slowly. This was not online drama anymore. This was real. Legal. She sat on her couch. For years, she felt big. Now, the house felt small. Back in the neighborhood, kids waved at Grandpa. Someone painted a small sign. Private property means private. Grandpa chuckled softly. The video reached national news. Then international. Different languages. Same story. A quiet old man. A loud HOA leader. One big mistake. Karen's lawyer finally called. His voice was serious. "This is not good," he said. "You need to prepare." Karen stared at the wall. For the first time, she listened. The internet had spoken. The law was moving. And the final chapter was coming fast. The courtroom was silent. No cameras. No shouting. No drama. Just facts. Karen sat on one side of the room. Her clothes were simple now. No bright colors. No confident smile. Across the room, Grandpa sat calmly. Same posture. Same quiet face. The judge looked at the papers. Then looked up. "This case is simple," the judge said. Karen held her breath. "You abused HOA power," the judge continued. "You violated private property law." Karen's lawyer said nothing. There was nothing left to say. The judge spoke again. "HOA authority is not ownership," he said. "It never was." Karen's shoulders dropped. The final decision was clear. Heavy fines. Permanent removal from HOA leadership. Public apology required. Karen closed her eyes. It was over. Outside the courtroom, reporters waited. They rushed toward Grandpa. "Any comment?" one asked. Grandpa paused. He looked at the building. Then he spoke. "I hope this reminds people," he said slowly. "Power should protect, not control." That quote went everywhere. Karen walked out quietly from another door. No cameras followed her. No one cared anymore. At home, she packed away old HOA papers. She did not throw them away. She just closed the box. A chapter of her life ended. Back on the street, the garage stood open. Sunlight touched the floor. Grandpa placed his chair inside. He sat there in peace. Neighbors passed by. They waved. They smiled. One child asked, "Are you famous?" Grandpa laughed softly. "No," he said. "I'm just free." The viral story slowly faded. But the lesson stayed. Rules without respect mean nothing. Power without limits destroys itself. And sometimes, the quietest person in the room has the strongest comeback.